What will Palantir be worth in the future? In just less than 2 months, it has gone up around 100%. And just these last couple of weeks, we have seen massive and successful investment funds such as BlackRock and ARK Invest buying into the company. With around $20 million worth of shares in ARK Invest and $280 million worth of shares in BlackRock, Palantir surely has to be, at the very least, a promising company. In today's video, I will give you my view on this information technology company and their various operations. I will then share my opinion on whether I think it is a stock worth buying right now, and also where I think the share price will go in the future. If you're new here, by the way, my name is Sam and welcome to the channel. If you find this video valuable, I would appreciate it so much if you press that like button. Also subscribe if you want to see more updates on companies just like Palantir. We are a growing community and I would love to have you on the journey with me. In less than 2 months, Palantir ticker symbol PLTR has gone from a low of just under $9 to a high of over $19. Now it has gone down a bit since then, but this is still a crazy run-up supported by the news of Palantir getting another contract by the US government. This, in combination with other news sentiments, has led to the current market capitalization of around $26 billion. But what does Palantir actually do? That's a great question. Well, in their own words, they build digital infrastructure for data-driven operations and decision-making. Their products serve as the connective tissue between an organization's data, its analytic capabilities, and operational execution. Palantir's platforms tie these together by bringing the right data to the people who need it, allowing them to take data-driven decisions, conduct sophisticated analytics, and refine operations through feedback. They then license this software to organizations who receive secure and unique instances of the platforms in which to conduct their own work on their own data. So I think this is really important. We first need to realize that they are not some big data company who monetize in some way by using data from customers. They're not like Google or Facebook in that respect. Rather, they only build the platforms for this data. Now, apart from the government contract, Palantir has been gaining traction lately due to several factors. First of all, the big data analytics software sector has been trending recently among investors, just like the electric vehicle sector I love to talk so much about. Secondly, the public health space has been gaining a lot of traction due to the illness that has been going around for these past many months, and now Palantir services has been used to track data from hospitals and trace the spread of this illness. Palantir has also been working with authorities with logistics related to the vaccines. They're also in talk with the UK government to support their contact tracing efforts. All this contributed to a very strong earnings report with a 52% growth in sales. And now investors are thinking that maybe Palantir can be a company for the future. Especially due to the fact that Palantir is providing data services that will definitely be relevant in the future, and where we will have to switch our old databases to better adapt to the big data revolution that is happening right now. This last crisis has shown that, and I think privacy and security will just be more and more important as this revolution happens. So sure, these are all bullish points for Palantir, but let's look at the valuation of the $26 billion company and compare it to Snowflake, for example, which also works with storing and managing large amounts of data across public clouds in their case, such as Amazon's. Not a perfect comparison since Palantir is mostly focusing on governments and intelligence agencies, but a comparison nonetheless. Now, Snowflake is expecting a bit more scaling potential since there is much less of a need for customization in their services. Palantir, on the other hand, needs engineers to adapt its tools to the unique needs of customers. Profitability-wise, Palantir is ahead right now, with Palantir having a gross profit margin of 72% compared to Snowflake's 62%. But with that said, if Snowflake manages to keep scaling, they could get ahead profitability-wise due to the standardized nature of their product and their lower customer acquisition costs. But what is really interesting about this is the crazy premium Snowflake is trading at right now compared to Palantir. Snowflake has a $73 billion market cap and the share price is 122 times higher than its projected revenues for the year. Compare this to Palantir, which has a share price of only 18 times higher than the projected revenues. That's very interesting, and I think it is because the investors are having a hard time right now figuring out just what kind of company Palantir actually is. Investors are definitely not looking at Palantir as a software company like they say themselves, but rather more like a traditional government IT service contractor, which I disagree with, by the way. These guys are not some IT consultants. They provide software with plenty of hands-on code and engineering, and their focus on privacy, integrity and security is becoming increasingly important in this world. This security can not only be applied to the data in the hands of the government, it is also a stand against corruption in privacy at the hands of Facebook, Google and other big tech companies. They really have an edge in this aspect compared to other software competitors, and combine this with their very low price to sales ratio, and I'm starting to see some really good potential in Palantir. Now, I just want to make sure that everyone knows that these comparisons to other software companies are incredibly difficult and not very accurate, since all these companies are focusing on different customer sets. We can't really compare Palantir to regular one-time service government contractors either, since these guys are continuously working with their customers and provide software for them. But regardless, as I look at Palantir and their expected 30% growth, combined with their cheap valuation compared to other software companies, combined with the high potential for expansion to other sectors within the government or even commercial sectors, it makes me think that Palantir is maybe worth buying for the long term right now. Now, I haven't picked up any stock yet, but I will probably do so in this coming week. I think these guys have the potential to double in share price to something like $35 to $40 by the next year. While at the same time, sure, there is some risk in this play, but if Palantir actually manages to keep up the growth they have had recently, a share price like that would still give Palantir quite a reasonable valuation compared to other software companies, and it could go up even more than that. And keep in mind that the upside potential in these kinds of investments is so high, in my opinion, that if you have a diversified portfolio with these kinds of companies, you only really need a couple of them to actually manage to meet their own expectations in order to make really good returns. Remember, the standard market returns is on average around 8 or 9%. If you can manage to get 100% of returns in only one of your 10 different stocks, that will result in you being the index. And with that, I want to conclude today's video. If you enjoyed this one, the simple act of just pressing that like button supports me so much. It helps the algorithm and lets my videos reach out to more people. Also, comment down below what other stocks you would be interested in me covering. If you watched all the way to this point, make sure to subscribe and join us in the journey to hit 10,000 investors by the end of this year. I just love reading all your comments and positive or negative feedback, and I love to try to take it into account when doing my next videos and just try to improve every time. Thank you so much for watching and enjoy the rest of your day. I'll catch you guys soon.